When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Blog Talk Radio.
From Jamaicans.com, and it's always our privilege to bring to you interesting, dynamic Jamaican folks to increase your latitude and longitude of what our great country is. And this evening we have an exciting book to bring to you. We have an author, Ken Roueche, and he's written a great book, Portland, the Other Jamaica, Tales of Dreamers, Schemers, and Crusaders. Ken began his journey in beautiful Jamaica by marrying a beautiful Jamaican woman he met in Toronto. She was from Dry Harbor Mountain, St. Anne's. They married. Her name is Hyacinth, and they've been to Jamaica since 1975. They've visited countless times over these last 35 years. They've tried to pay a visit to Portland because they've been drawn by its strong allure, its history. It's a story that hasn't been really told. Many of the world's great events have shaped Portland's history. This includes Portland's strategic location during the Spanish-American War, loss of so many young men during the Great War. This parish has been blessed with great leaders, including Captain Kay, Ken Jones, Sir Harold Allen, and many others. In recent years, Portland has also attracted the attention of Hollywood stars such as Errol Flynn, and followed by queens, princesses, princes, barons, captains of industry, and more movie stars. And today, the dreamers, the schemers are still coming to Portland. Portland was once called the banana capital of the world. This was followed by the revival of the railroad, which spurred even more banana production and helped launch the tourist industry and the building of the Titchfield Hotel. The book is called Portland, the Other Jamaica. To do the interview, it's my co-host, Janice Maxwell. As always, Janice is a great multimedia person. She has Caribbean TV, radio, and Jamaica Diaspora, where you can get lots of Jamaican products. Janice, please take it away.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Ken, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it. Oh, yes, Ken, you have a brief story about a famous Portland personality?
Yes, indeed. As the book subtitle says, this is a tale of dreamers, schemers, and crusaders. Let me tell you a little bit about one of them, Sir Harold Allen. Sir Harold was unknown to me prior to my research for this book, and perhaps is unknown to many Jamaicans. Harold was born in the quiet confines of Portland, became a major player in history of Jamaica prior to the Second World War, became Jamaica's first finance minister and the first black man from his country to be knighted by the king. He was born in 1895 in Springbank, Portland, and was the pride of his parents. He loved to play and loved to study hard. By 1915, he was assistant headmaster at Calabar, and then by the early 1920s, he was teacher and manual training instructor at Titchfield School. By 1924, he'd become a member elected to the Portland Parish Council, and in 1935 was elected as member of the Legislative Council for Portland. Mr. Allen's role came to public prominence was triggered by his constant support for poor Jamaicans. His first major role on the national stage was in the aftermath of the labor unrest in 1913 at Frum. Although he was always an independent member of the legislature, in 1945 he was appointed Jamaica's first Minister of Finance under the leadership of Bustamante.
Wow.
He also gained the respect and support of Norman Manley, who said Sir Harold set a very high standard of public service that would be hard to meet, and in fact probably hasn't even been met to this day. So there's a son of Portland that perhaps a lot of Jamaicans don't know about, and I think they find that story kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Really appreciate that. The book has a very accessible layout. What made you choose this style?
Well, it's interesting. One of the authors that I particularly enjoy reading is a Canadian historian by the name of Pierre Burton. Pierre Burton, the late Pierre Burton, wrote over 50 books on Canadian history, all of them bestsellers. Mm-hmm. And he wrote them in a way that was accessible to the average Canadian. He didn't make them great academic tomes. They were written in a style that would help to make history come alive for folks. And I've tried to kind of follow that model.
Oh. Well, it was definitely an easy read, so everyone will be buying your book and not just having it on the coffee table, but definitely reading it.
I tried to throw in lots of good historic photographs, some of which I don't think have ever been published before.
Mm. When you wrote this book, who did you have in mind in sharing its pages, and what benefit did you intend the reader to receive? Well,
I wrote this book for the people of Portland. I thought it was important that the people of Portland celebrate their history. I mean, it's a very rich history, and I think what I hope they might take from it is a renewed curiosity about their history, and perhaps it would lead folks on to dig further and find out more about their past, and maybe even use it as a vehicle to rejuvenating tourism in the parish.
Really, because you have such a strong affinity with Jamaica, who are your Jamaican role models?
Well, it's interesting.
Or do you have any?
Well, I do actually. Then the one name for me that always comes top of list is Usain Bolt.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why. First of all, he's a gentleman. I mean, he's got so much fame and fortune, but he's always participating and always working on local projects in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And he's shown through his success on the track that he knows how to play to his strengths, and he also recognizes his weaknesses.
Yeah. I do relate to that because I used to do track a lot. Yeah. In high school. And
right.
Speaking of high school, our audience has a lot of high school and college kids listening who are curious on our guest career path. Give us a summary of your journey from high school to being the first-class author that you are.
Well, let's go back to elementary school. I've never been a good writer, and in fact, when I entered grade 1, I didn't even know the alphabet. In high school and in university, English classes were always a struggle. And then when I got into the world of work, which for me was working in economics and business in the business field, I discovered that the written word would be key to my success. I often needed to provide clear, precise, written advice to senior management, usually in under 2 pages. And so I developed, with a lot of help, my writing skills. And then after leaving the 9-to-5 world, I had an opportunity to attempt to combine my writing skills with a bit of business acumen and a love of history. And that's basically how it started. And my first book, which came out in 2005, I was the author, publisher, and marketing department, and the same applies to this book.
I can relate to being the one-man band in terms of the writing world.
Yeah.
When I've written my publications. So, what made you choose Portland as a topic of interest?
Well, it goes to the title. I mean, the most important, from my perspective, the most important page in a book is the cover. That includes the title. Portland, the Other Jamaica, is intended to convey the unique qualities of this most beautiful parish. Portland has more mountains, rivers, flora, fauna, rain, and perhaps has experienced more natural calamities than any other parish. And it shaped, the environment has shaped the history. It's also attracted many dreamers and a few schemers, and still does.
I know.
Errol
can tell you about that.
Right. Errol Flynn once described Portland as more beautiful than any woman. And the people and the people and the places of Portland have combined to create a parish like no other. How can you go ahead?
Sure.
I was going to say, how can you not write a book about a place like that?
I see. I was I learned a lot about your reading your book. I learned a lot about Portland and just Jamaican culture on a whole, and Portland in specific. Now that your book is chock full of great Jamaican tidbits, could you share a few facts you'd like to share? Tell us.
Well, how about this? When it opened in 1960, Frenchman's Cove was the first all-inclusive resort in the world, costing $2,500 per couple for a 2-week stay.
And $2,500 now is money. Can you imagine
right.
like that?
Oh yes, very posh, very posh. And in the 1960s, while attending Titchfield High School, Michael Lee Chin developed his skills as a salesman by following his uncle Vin, his stepfather, around Portland as he sold Singer sewing machines to the housewives of Portland.
That's pretty interesting. And it's for people who do not know, Michael Lee Chin is Jamaica's. Well, he's a billionaire, and
he owns
not
national
of those in the world.
He owns National Commercial Bank, among other assets.
And quite a few things. So, as usual, Jamaicans tend to make their mark one way or the other, and once again, we've impacted the world. So, Jamaica does have a billionaire. As for me, the male billionaire role model I aspire, I'm impressed with is obviously Michael Lee Chin, and the female is Oprah. And she's holding her own too.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, did you know that Errol Flynn once got into a barroom fight with Chris Blackwell?
No.
Both gentlemen were competing for the attention of a particularly attractive lady. Mr. Blackwell apparently landed on the floor. There's no word on who won the heart of the young damsel.
Errol Flynn seems to have been quite a womanizer.
Well, he misbehaved every place he went, including Portland.
But it's the ones who, what if the squeaky wheel gets the grease? I mean, we don't remember the quiet ones. We remember the ones who were raucous, Ernest Hemingway. He's written a lot of books about his life and his travels. But we remember him, right? Yeah. And we'll probably always remember him. And because of the things that Errol Flynn did, he's going to be remembered too. And the fact that he's so connected to Jamaica in such a unique way, it's going to be a page mark. We will remember that. So tell us, how can Portland rediscover its rich heritage?
Well, I guess my hope would be that the people of Portland might take my book as a starting point for rediscovering their history. I've only harvested the low-hanging fruit. There's so much more. There's so much more to be discovered, and it might lead to a new tourism market for the parish. I mean, I think that if you think of the number of tourist communities around the world that celebrate their history and make it part of what they are as a marketing package. I think
it's
great potential.
Kind of like how Falmouth, which I found this out a couple of weeks ago, that Falmouth had running water before New York did.
That's correct.
Running pipe water. And I'm just like, Jamaica? You know, that was surprising. I'm bringing this up. Why am I bringing up Falmouth? I'm just saying that there's just so many tidbits that would rediscover, make those particular areas a tourist attraction. Because I don't know if you know that, but Falmouth is going to be a new hub for tourist attraction. And so some of the same elements that are brought to Falmouth could possibly be brought to Portland, but from a different perspective. Because of Fern, which is really surprising to me. I'm very into the environment to learn about tell us anyway, how did you learn about Portland's rich vegetation? Over 500 species are found nowhere else on Earth. And
I think that's actually there's 500 different plants in Portland. I think something like 250 of those of the 500 are in fact found no place else in the world. That is part of the research for that came from a 400-page report published by the Parish Council in 2000. That's an invaluable inventory of the parish's ecology. And the thing is that the important thing there is that not only is it a beautiful and unique ecology, but that ecology was key to the history of the parish. The reasons the Maroons were so successful in that part of Jamaica was the mountains provided them with the protection from the British soldiers.
I see. And as we were talking about tourism, this could be a good place for ecotourism. That could be another angle.
It already is, yes.
Yeah, this would definitely be another. So how would one get a copy of your fine work?
Well, it's currently available on my webpage at portlandtheotherjamaica.com. And by the end of October, it'll be available in Portland. And by November, it should be available at bookstores island-wide.
That's wonderful. These are challenging days in Jamaica right now, as you know. I mean, it has a lot of potential, but these are the realities that Jamaicans on the island and in the diaspora have to contend with. So is there any inspirational words from your book that you would like to share and encourage Jamaicans?
Well, I would
not just Jamaicans, but anyone interested in Jamaican culture.
Right. Yes. Well, you're certainly right. These are challenging times for Jamaica, but it seems to me that it's always been challenging times for Jamaica. Maybe a bit more now than in previous years. But I would say this. Every time you reach for a $500 bill, that's a Jamaican 500. Remember the spirit of Nanny. You'll see Nanny on the front of the bill. And that spirit is you've got to know your strengths and use them to your advantage, and you have to know your weaknesses and how to deal with them. I think that's what made Nanny and the Maroons, the Windward Maroons, successful.
Oh, okay. That is definitely some positive parting words. To learn more about Chris Daly, you can visit yourgenius.com. He is a regular blogger on Jamaicans.com, and his blog is called Me Thinking Are You. If you'd like to learn about Jamaican diaspora, visit JamaicanDiaspora.com. We're also on iTunes, Jamaican Diaspora Radio, Jamaican Diaspora TV. And once again, Ken, would you like to give them your website?
Yes, it's portlandtheotherjamaica.com. The book is available now for folks in North America, and it'll be available locally in Portland by the end of October and in Jamaica island-wide in November.
Oh, that's wonderful. Ken, I'd like to thank you for sharing your wisdom with you. We look forward to your continued leadership in bringing light and insight on the jewel in Jamaica, which is called Portland. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
John's, America's #1 sandwich delivery. Fast Ed speaking. I'm on my way.
I'm in the backyard here, Ed. Wow, you are fast.
Yes, sir. Freaky fast and freaky good. But I got to say, I've never delivered to a dude in a doghouse.
Well, I'm definitely in the doghouse.
I thought in the doghouse was just an expression, a figure of speech.
Well, the doghouse is a very real place.
How long are you condemned to your canine quarters?
Too soon to tell, but on the bright side.
The doghouse has a bright side.
Yeah, the wife can't throw a lamp this far.
Oh, I guess she's been working out.
Order Jimmy John's sandwich delivery today. Jimmy John's. Freaky fast. Freaky fresh.